Hi everybody. Today I'd like to have a little bit of fun for the project that I'm going to do. If you recall in the past, I showed making my rivet header. So basically I use this when I want to make a rivet for my tongs, and I always make my rivets flat-headed. But I was thinking that maybe on some projects it'd be nice to make a button head style rivet. So for this rivet header, basically, I just cut off appropriate stock. I use 8 millimeters, and then insert it in the proper hole, which is this hole on the front end hole here for 8 millimeter. And then the amount protruding, the general rule is about 1.5 times the diameter of the stock. But that's not a hard and fast rule, but that's just gives you kind of a general parameter for how much material to leave above the rivet header. So, and then typically, I'll just make a flat, hammer that until I can make a flat rivet head, just like that. So, but what I'd like to do is I'm going to try to make a tool that, I can place over this and then form it into a button shape, a rounded off button head, kind of a rivet. So, for this tool, and this is woefully short, this is definitely going to give me some trouble trying to use this, but the basic idea is I'll handle this, and so what I was thinking is maybe I'll fuller it, and then try to wrap it with a thin piece of stock like this. But like I said, this piece should be longer. It should be just a little bit longer. But I'm going to give it a go because I don't feel like cutting anything right now. And I just found this quickly in my scrap pile, so I'll give it a try. And then after it's fullered, then what I'll do is I'll use this, what some people call a dapping tool. It's just a rounded punch. Just you can see how round it is here. And then I'll set this up, and then hammer in a depression roughly the size that I want the heads of these button head rivets to be. And then I'll handle this and finish it out, get the top end to have a little bit of radius, and then give it a go and see how it works. So I decided to put the depression in this piece first and then try it out even before I handle it. It took me a second heat to get what I thought would be the right depth. I'm fairly certain that this piece is medium carbon steel. I don't know, I didn't test it, and I don't know exactly, I didn't have it marked, but one way that you can tell sometimes is that square stock, stuff that has higher carbon content usually has sharper edges, whereas the stuff that's mild steel usually has more of a rounded edge. So here I'm just trying this out with my tongs just to see if I'm going in the right direction. It has that button head rounded look, but I didn't have enough material protruding on this one. So now I'm going to fuller this piece in order to allow it to accept a wrapped around handle. You can tell just by the feel of the steel that this is medium carbon steel, almost certain. It's fullered pretty nicely, but it's a little bit too wide for that stock. So I'm going to use this piece of round here to kind of just make the depressions come in a little bit. The depression for the rivet heads deformed a little bit when I was fullering, so I'm just touching that up a little bit here. Here I'm just sizing things up for my next move. It's very important in blacksmithing to think, have it planned out before you pull your hot piece out. So this way you don't have to hesitate. A long time ago, I used to handle all of my top tools this way, and I used to be really good at it. But looking at this, I can tell I've lost it a little bit. I use the vise here to just tweak it along a little bit. As long as those fullered sides are deep enough and your stock side to side is within those fullered grooves, the tool will never come out. It'll become a little bit wobbly, but sometimes that's actually advantageous, but it should never come out. Again, I'm just working it here, just trying to get a little bit tighter. I really enjoy working on things like this that I don't normally do. It just it helps to relax my mind and I like working on smaller pieces like this as well. Stuff that I don't have to swing too hard on. Just tightening the back end here with my twisting wrench, and then I'll put a little bit of a loop on that long end to make it so it can be hung up. There it is, ready to give it a try. It'll definitely be much easier to use having it permanently handled like that. Here's a round punch that I made years and years ago and used that similar style of wrapping the handle on, and that's been like that for years and years. A little wobbly, but never came out. So here I give it a few tries. It's definitely working. I just need to get a little bit more practice with it, and also to figure out what length of stock will work best with this button head rivet header. It seemed to work better this way, having these two tools opposing each other like that. I had a little bit better luck with this one. For this one, I gave it a few taps because the stock was so long, first with my hammer, and then used this tool to round it off. And that worked fairly well. It was a little bit too long, but it worked out okay. I need to get the heads to flare out just a bit more to create a little bit more of a shoulder. So overall, I'm pretty pleased with this. It definitely works well, but you have to have practice with this. And I have to get the technique down better, I think, for getting the stock in while it's still hot and getting this worked over. So you can see here are, right here are three that pretty much shot, didn't come out as expected. And then three that are fairly decent. So it's a matter of getting just exactly the right length. This is just a little bit too long. This one's probably just a little bit too short. So somewhere in between these two would be best, I think. So, but yeah, overall, this tool I think will definitely come in handy. So I'll hang her up and leave it there for future use.